OPEC's crude oil production adjustments, and which is limiting Nigeria's ability to refine crude oil for domestic use, domestic purposes, right? Well, that being said, let me also let you in on the fact that we should be having our guest in the studio in the person of Mr. Yeshua Aliyu. He's an economic analyst, right? But for some reason, we've not been able to have contact with him. We are hoping that everything goes well with him. But that being said, we will only dive into this, and this conversation will be surrounded, between you and I as we go deliberating, in this matter. Well, let's look, at the oil sector proper, right? Deliberate just a little bit more, and then of course I'll open the phone line so we can engage in a conversation, right? Now, the oil sector in Nigeria is lifeline. It's Nigeria's lifeline, yeah, and it's facing a major challenge. Imagine a bucket with holes, and that's our oil sector. Now, we are losing revenue and jobs, and that's due to reliance on imported refined products. It's more like buying bottled water when you have a well in your backyard, right? That's just what it feels like. And then you might also want to consider something that Senator Bukola Saraki once said. He had said that the oil sector is a ticking time bomb, and that we need to act fast to prevent a catastrophe, right? And then if you also want to look at the issues of the mafias, have you even heard of mafias in the oil sector? I mean, they are powerful interests blocking local refining, and it's more like a cartel, right? Controlling the markets. OPEC, a global oil organization, also limits Nigeria's production. Imagine a teacher telling a student to slow down. Like, you're the student, slow down when they're already behind in class. Telling a student who's already behind in class, oh, slow down. The pace at which you're going, your reading is too much. Just slow down. That's exactly what it is with OPEC right there, right? And that is another concern, right? And there is also the place where, if I recall correctly, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo once said, we must break the stronghold of oil, or rather it says, let me put it better, it says we must break, yeah? I think you used the stranglehold. It's the stranglehold, I think, yes, of oil cartels, and empower Nigerian entrepreneurs to drive growth. Now, that is what he said at some point in time. And then you might also want to consider the fact that the oil sector crisis is not affecting just one person, it's affecting you and I, as many have alluded. Experts have said that it is about the common man in the country, as those who are the haves may not really have a problem with whatever comes out in with regards to the oil sector, whether the prices go up, whether it's inflated, whether or not. They may not have the power because they have the purchase power. But for an average Nigerian, which I do not even think we still have average Nigerians, it's either you're rich or you are poor, you're wealthy or you are just not wealthy. Okay, that's what it seems to be right there. So there is a very clear-cut dichotomy. Well, the average Nigerians, I'm not sure that they'll be able to. We are able to afford this, right? And then you might also want to look at the fact that it is impacting the economy and as well as you and I. That's the truth. Now, high petroleum prices lead to inflation, and it's making it life harder for Nigerians. Now, it's like a domino effect. When one price increases, others follow. That's just what we've seen. I mean, we've seen it as soon as the fuel inflation was declared over. Rather, subsidy was declared over in terms of the oil sector. We saw as everything spiraled, everything astronomically, everything just started to grow up in food inflation, quite a number of things. Prices just began to go as high as 300%, 500%, increment of what we used to get before at a certain price. And it really is biting hard, and it is not easy and funny for us, right? So yes, it is having a domino effect, and we need to address this to stimulate economic growth, as this is very, very important. I'm going to be bringing a lot of nuggets in here. I remember the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, saying our economy is too dependent on oil. It brings to the place of diversification, right? And we need to diversify to ensure sustainable growth as it stands. And that's been Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed at one point had made that conversation known at the time. But then can we also look at the critical concerns and the questions that should follow in this regard, right? What would be the role of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, right? That's the NUPRC. What is their role in addressing these issues? Because it falls on their table to address these issues. If there are mafias who are trying to sabotage the process, what is the role of these agency in that regard? And are they even equipped adequately to regulate the sector? Are they, is the question. And how can Nigeria balance its OPEC commitments with its domestic refining needs? These questions beg for answers. Then we need answers to these questions if we must move forward, especially within our oil sector. Our oil sector in the country. And quite a number of persons have said we need reforms. We've also heard promises here and there, promises as to how, these refineries are going to come aboard. I mean, I've heard my brothers and sisters talking about you out there saying that, look, at this point in time, what we need is a total overhaul. We need to get the refineries back and all of that. But does it seem as though we are not being taken seriously just yet? Because how does it feel when you see the answers right in front of you and you are beaten about the bush, right? This is food, and then you're going for the crumbs. That's exactly what we are facing. That's how to elude the situation that we face in the country at this point in time. Well, let me also take you to the place that the promises to revive our refineries didn't just start with this administration, although the Tinubu administration has not said anything or given any promise in that regard. But we saw that come from the place of the Jonathan administration, former President Goodluck Jonathan. In 2015, he promised to revive refineries. That was a promise he made. And in 2017, President Muhammadu Buhari, the former President Muhammadu Buhari, promised to revamp refineries. Same language, right? Just a different political actor now. And you would also recall that in 2022, President Buhari, a former president, why do I keep calling him that? Well, the former President Buhari reiterated his commitment to revamping refineries. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has not made any public promises on revamping modular refineries as it stands right there. But Nigeria spent over 1.5 billion US dollars on refinery revamps since 2015. Exactly. Over 1.5 billion US dollars just trying to revamp the refineries, which some are saying is moribund, which some are saying, in fact, that they are working, but not working in the capacity that they ought to. Right? And then the Tinubu administration, from my research, has not budgeted any funds for modular refineries revamps, in the 2024 budget as it stands. And that, of course, is as seen from the budget office of the Federation as at October of 2023, right? So Aliko Dangote says local and international cartels tried to sabotage my refinery project, and that implies that powerful interest there against domestic refining. Why is it that these persons do not want the local refineries to work? Some questions right there. And then even the modular refinery operators, they've also said that they've raised concerns before, but no action was taken, implying that the government is in action, or the government's inaction in this regard. And that makes some persons and experts in this regard want to think, to say, and that, look, could it be that the government somehow is complicit in this whole entire sabotage process? And yeah, it's a question. If the government is not talking about these things, if the government is not making the very visible and feasible, move to seeing that these refineries become the behest, at their behest, in other words, becomes the very heartbeats, as to what it is that they ought to do to getting, the hardship, the pains, and the anguish that we face out of the way, then it might just go on to saying that maybe some persons are within the corridors of power, very few yet very powerful, and they have a statement to make, and they're not allowing these refineries, local refineries, to indeed come up to speed. And that brings us, that becomes an agenda that we are giving our dear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This might just be you stepping into this regard and ensuring that, look, we get to take out these bottlenecks. I mean, they've been there, they've been eating fat off our sweat and resources. Shouldn't this be the right time to take these persons off? Or are we saying that we do not have a document that is powerful enough to bring in these people to their knees? And that's talking about none other thing but the Nigerian constitution, which, by the way, is still going through some sort of review. But then we've also heard, the Heineken Lokobiri, Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, saying that Nigeria will continue to comply with OPEC's adjustment. That means prioritizing OPEC compliance over domestic refining. And Eche Idoko, Public Secretary of Koran, has come out to saying that the government should prioritize domestic refining to tackle inflation. I mean, quite a number of persons have been saying that. And of course, Eche Idoko has also added his voice in that regard to saying that, look, it's time for the federal governments to prioritize domestic refining to tackle inflation. And that would only highlight the fact that domestic refining is key to addressing economic challenges. Well, I'll just open the phone lines now so we can have that discourse and have that conversation in this regard and see ways that we can build and make things better. What can we even do in this regard? I mean, we've undergone the stress, the pains, the hardship for quite too long, with a few persons sitting on the table where we ought to sit collectively as a people, as a nation, and feeding fat off our resources right there. Enough is enough, wouldn't you say? And yes, if enough is enough, what would be the best way to, pilot the affairs of this? And do we think that the president and this administration has done its best in with regards putting together and making sure that, our refineries come up to speed and is indeed working efficiently? Well, I'll dive into the promises that has been made before now in this regard, but let's just hear from you. 0907-353-0044 is that number to call. The other number is 0908-766-8888, and the WhatsApp portal number where you can send your WhatsApp message to, your voice message to as well, and a text message to would be 0909-705-4450. Hello and good morning to you.
Morning, Yudi.
Yes, good morning, please.
Yes, you.
Yeah.
In fact, you have raised a matter this morning which has been a matter of concern and a matter that has been deeply bringing down our economy.
Right. Is this Moses?
Yeah. For your life.
Right. What's your name, though? This is Moses, yeah?
On this very
Hello?
platform.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I'd like to know you. Is this Moses? All right, Moses. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Moses.
These matters have been raised even during Yanacho. We lamented so much on this platform.
Right. Oh, Moses is out there Oh, Moses, do well to call back, or better still, you can get onto the WhatsApp portal. You can use a voice note. You can say, use a text, a message, type it all out, or use a voice note and keep it short and simple. Or better still, you could as well send a text message to that number 0909 705 4450. That is the number that you can call at a time like this. Taking this call. Hello, good morning.
Yes, I'm still coming back.
Yes, welcome back. Feels good. Yes.
Because oil is one of the important roles. It plays an important role in our economy. And we discover that there are lots of good actions, negative actions of reality. And those negative actions of reality comes from a man behind the scene.
Right.
And these people behind the scene that will not allow this thing to function, right from Buhari region, because Buhari, one of his manifestos, he promised that when he come up, he will put all our refineries to work. But when he came, he discovered that there are people behind those refineries not working.
Right.
And the question is, who are those people? Who are those mafias? Look at the comment you just comment. $1.5 billion being ascribed to our refineries. We put it in order. And these things are not coming in order. So the factors behind all this is corruption.
Right.
These mafians are not spirits. They are human beings. They live in
Oh, come on, Moses. I'm so sorry. We cannot go further. I don't know. For some reason, it seems like there are mafias within the telecommunication region. Our conversation this morning, but you might as well want to bring it back in as you call back. Well, let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you, please. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, my name is U and D.
U and D. All right, my namesake.
Yes,
that feels good. Let's get into it. Talk to me. Where are you calling from? Where are you calling from?
I'm very, very happy.
Right.
The topic of the day today.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
What goes around comes around. That's what we are seeing. Since our former president, General Buhari, said this, that NNPC, both the upstream and the downstream are so corrupt. I'm very sorry to say so. That is the pure truth. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, UD.
So what are we going to do now? Where is the way out now? The way out is for us. You see, these cartels, they have their links on political issues too. So what we need to do now is for our constitution to be restructured. If possible, abolish. Some are good. But restructure it and make it to be effective. The judiciary, the long arms, and the judiciary, to make them not to be in the pockets of the executive. The autonomy of to be on to say the truth and nothing but the truth. So that is our problem. Our problem is not other things. Is this, we have monopoly of economy in Nigeria. After the crude oil came, we forget about agriculture.
Right.
Though because of the weather, we have a very good weather, and the terrain, we have the irrigation and the dams are helping matters. Okay. So what we really need to do now is to tackle, to say the truth. Let the government know the reality.
Yeah.
It's not by force, it's not by fighting the way we do things together.
Okay.
We put our heads and our hearts together, and
okay.
We forge ahead.
Okay.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, and bless you too. Well, we're still having that discourse right here. It is the Eagles Outlook, and yes, we're looking at a matter that concerns Nigeria's oil, sector crisis. We're in a state of crisis at this point in time, and yes, if we don't get it rightly at this point in time, then we may never get it rightly, and this might have some sort of trickling effect, into the lives of our our livelihood, our standard of living. Some are even saying that if we're able to tackle this issue of having our own locally producing refineries right there, we may never have to really talk about jacking up the minimum wage saga that is going on with between the federal government and the organized labor, right? That it might just be a conversation that might seem a cake, or a conversation that probably would have seen through a very swift, roundtable discussion. But the fact that it's lingering is also alluded to the circumstances of mafias within the oil sector right there, trying to sabotage and stop the process of our local refineries to coming aboard so that they can continue with the continuous importation of our fuel, because they are the ones who benefit the most in this process. Well, anyways, I've got bills to pay. I'll just go pay these bills. When we come back, of course, I'll let you into some of the promises that has been given to us by the NNPCL, as well as other relevant agencies, as to when and where and how our refineries would come back, into shape, and how that will benefit us one way or the other. And we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
I suppose it was inevitable.
Eagles 102.3. Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
No offense to the commercials. It's just that we want to see other audio.
Eagles 102.3.
All right, and the bill, well, has been paid. Okay, welcome back. This is Eagles 102.3 FM. Wherever you're listening to the sound of my voice from, you are doing well. You are doing the right thing, and I'm saying thumbs up to you, double thumbs up to you. Kudos to you if you're watching outside the shores of Nigeria, or you're domiciled in Nigeria, and you are on one of our platforms, one of our shades, like I would like to call and say, on social media, being a part of the online television broadcast that we bring. That is, even as we bring a radio experience that is audiovisual to you, well, you are doing the right thing, and you want to join the conversation. You can also add the prefix, okay, +234 to these numbers, 0907-353-0044 or 0908-766-8888. Well, there has been promises made by respective agencies and the NNPCL regarding the Port Harcourt and Kaduna refineries, along with your timelines and dates, right? For the Port Harcourt refinery, March 2023, NNPC promises to complete the rehabilitation of the refinery by, this month. But yeah, we're still here. April of 2023, the refinery is expected to resume operations, okay, and December 2023, mechanical completion of the refinery. I'm just taking you through so you see what's going on. March 15 of 2024, NNPC promises that the refinery will commence operations in 2 weeks. 2 weeks came, 2 weeks elapsed, and NPC went mom. And May 2024, the refinery is expected to start operations in 2 months. Another timeline given there, and we waited for 2 months. Well then, okay. Well, we're still in May. Well, we're in June rather. So 2 months they said. As it's gonna be right there. Well, I mean, there's also been talks that the refinery is expected to start producing, as announced by the Independent Marketers Association of Nigeria, right? And yes, that is it. I think it's Ipman. Ipman actually came out to say that. And then for the Kaduna refinery, though, it was said in December 2024 as well, that NNPC are promising that the refinery will be ready by this year ending. By this year, okay, that's December 2024. So it will be ready this year. Let's just open see. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Mr. Edward.
Yes, good morning to you, please. Good morning. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Sir. My name is Fundu.
Fundu, welcome aboard.
Yes.
Let's have it.
Yes, Mr. Edward. You see, I used to think that the mafia in doing drugs, they were the highest. Until Jonathan came into power, and he had one of his ministers, then Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who was a very key member of the government. Subsidy would have been removed during Jonathan, and Jonathan did not want to grab the microphone and that shadow subsidy is gone. Jonathan wanted to do it in the way that Nigeria will not feel it much.
Right.
But we did not allow him to remove the fuel subsidy. If Jonathan had removed fuel subsidy, I'm telling you, we will not face what we are facing today, you know. But the step that he was trying to take is not what our current president, who did not even enter his office yet and just the subsidy is gone. No. Jonathan was taking the right step and not to remove subsidy at once. And one of the steps he took was that he called the National Union of Transport Workers and you know, he wanted to work with them. He wanted to make sure that Nigerians all over the country will not suffer you know, the high cost of transportation. And even those that want to carry their goods to go and sell. Because during summer, somebody transport is run from Adamawa to Lagos, and he paid about 1.5 million just for transport alone. So these are the things that Jonathan was trying to avoid. But we did not allow him to remove fuel subsidy. And where am I heading to? Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who tried to advise Jonathan to remove subsidy, the fuel cabal, the oil cabal, went after the mother. They kidnapped her mother. You know, that was when I knew that, yeah, these people are not joking. Because they said that woman was trying to spread that business. And heavy amount of money was paid. That the police told us that they were able to rescue her. But I must tell you that a lot of monies were paid for her release. And lastly, I want to say one thing. That each time a president comes to power and deem me fit not to appoint a substantive minister of petroleum, I get worried. Because the president has so much to do. And I would have preferred that a president, instead of making himself a substantive minister of petroleum, he should make himself the minister of agriculture. Because it is one area that the government don't want to look at. And then we say that some mafia try to stop, I'm not surprised. Because if somebody like Dangote, they could start to stop him, then that explains why the urban Nigeria is suffering today. And even those workers that have been employed in our refineries, which are not working, they are being still paid till now. Daniel, they are still being paid till now. The workers have not been fully laid off. They are still being paid, even though they are not working. So it is the corruption that is making our money to keep going and going. How can people who are not working be getting paid? Go and find out. Those people in our refinery that are not working, they are still being paid.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Taken B. Thank you for that one, Taken B. You've raised quite a number of, angles to the discourse this morning. And we cannot turn a blind eye to, or a bad eye to, these issues. Well, it's quite a great question. Why is Nigeria's petroleum sector, why is it that it's been led by president or the vice president as the Minister of Petroleum Resources? And that seemed to have been the norm since 2015. But it has also raised some concerns about the lack of substantive, Minister of Petroleum. One who a lot of us are saying should focus on the sector's development. According to some things that the experts, have said that having a dedicated Minister of Petroleum would have ensured accountability and transparency in the sector, and that it would have also allowed for some focused leadership and policy direction, and also brought about the enhancement of the sector's performance and growth. However, some are also arguing that having the president or vice president as the Minister of Petroleum Resources also demonstrates the sector's importance to the country's economy, and then that it also allows for a high-level decision-making and coordination. But despite this, quite a number of us Nigerians are still calling for a substantive Minister of Petroleum to address the sector's challenges, because look, should that sector work, every other sector, it is believed, will indeed come aboard and also see some levels of development and sustainable growth. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning to you, please. Yes, good morning.
Many minutes when they don't break up for you now. Just take a cup of water, drink.
Okay.
Yeah?
All right. Thank you, Bibi.
My name is Bibi Bless. I want to ask simple question. Is it only this phone I will get for our Nigeria where they bring money come for our Nigeria table? I think there is another thing. May we find a place where go today, may we approach youth to go they dig so that money go there for Nigeria, please. Outside country, they come and die. Only we just focus only for now only for we get for our Nigeria and I wait till I won't ask be that who does done a bit. As family, is it only thing where we get for our Nigeria be that? What of all this other side where they get gold, they get why we not go focus for that one? Why we no go favor us now we dey focus. Now we dey cry for hungry. Wetin we dey cry now? Nigeria not dey able to eat belle full again. Now our land they don't pursue people to farm where they dey farm comot. They don't pursue people. What do we do? Please, our president, come look at hospital now. We talk about the issue of hospital today. I really breathing yes wicked. The hospital where they don't die for this taco market, I think they want to buy her back now. I really greet her. I say yes wicked they work. If to say the other people that they represent or that they work like that, we not go always they focus on our president. Thank God, make they sign that law. Main state they take care of their state. Anything where they collect, make they put her for the state, make they take a do good thing. Or our president, make they go put a refinery there. We have the refinery for those states. We have all these things, but now they collect the money they put for their self for pockets. Now they say we be patient. Now they say we pay price. Which price now we go pay? I don't really understand. It's only for we Nigeria get. I want to ask. Then let me know. I beg.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Thank you, BB. Right there, BB raising some strong questions. Right there is the only resource that we have in our dear country, Nigeria. Is it just fuel? Is that the only thing we have in the country that should generate or give us some levels of GDP? Right. Well, anyways, the answer would be no. Fuel and crude oil, they are not the only resources that can contribute to a country's GDP, actually, especially when you look at Nigeria right there. We have a diverse range of natural resources and industries and that can drive the economic growth and development. In fact, you might want to consider agriculture. Nigeria has fertile and land and favorable climate for crops like cocoa. Remember, there was a time we were the cocoa giant and rubber, the palm oil. Of course, palm oil, already you heard in the news earlier today during the newspaper review, the pages, where of course it seems as though we are spending $600 million just to import, palm oil annually. And that is a report that has come to limelight. Even cashews, that's right. In terms of agriculture, we are solid. And then when it comes to solid minerals, we are also there. Because, we are rich. We are rich in solid minerals, like iron ore. Nobody's talking about it. The coal in Enugu State. Coal. Yes, coal. We are not even talking about these things. Tin, columbite, gold, just like BB Blessing had mentioned. And in terms of manufacturing, we are solid. Look, we are solid in a lot of ways. But let me just take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning, please.
Good morning, Mr. Edward.
Yes, good morning, my brother. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, my brother. You be calling back. I just want to remind us that
welcome back.
About 2 to 3 refineries, the money that we used to build those refineries in Nigeria are from cocoa, and cotton and palm oil.
Right.
That's where we get the money to build about 2-3 refineries we have in Nigeria.
Right. Okay.
So the France, do the stuff. You see, that's the fair truth.
I see.
So I don't know why we can't just remember where we come from.
Right.
I don't know maybe the British that I don't know who did this to us.
All right, I get that you did.
Not there is going on. We just have to pray that things will forge ahead back.
Exactly.
Because we don't have any other country to this entity call Nigeria.
Honestly, we don't. It's Nigeria that we have, and Nigeria alone is where we is that we would base our, stay, pitch our tent, because we have no other place to go. I tell you the truth. Even if you went elsewhere, you would only be a visitor. That's just the truth. Yeah. And yes, you've raised some very strong and serious points right there. I tell you, UD. And yeah, well, the good thing is the fact that is it Afrexim Bank was on the front page of the newspapers this morning, that they've decided that they've closed a deal for textile in the country, to reviving textile in the country. And we're hoping that deal would indeed not just be a deal for the elites, but it will be a deal that will trickle down to you and I, where we would feel the impact of this. Because there was a time in this country when we were also very, very big on textile, production. But now, is it the same story? Right. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ujak.
Yes, good morning.
I'm connecting you on YouTube.
All right, very
How
well.
are you,
Thank you. Very well. Thank you so
You
much.
are quite a handsome man.
Ah, thank you. What's your
My
name,
name
though?
is
Where are you
GB.
calling from? Oh, GB.
Yes.
All right, GB, welcome aboard. Yeah.
Yes. On the issue of, crisis in the oil industry, well, you see, let me tell you something. In every trade, in every business, people will resist any change. People will resist anything that will take away so-called life of livelihood or where they are making money.
Right.
And that's what people at Dangote face when they say, look, he has to fight, he has to fight. Now, imagine it. When we import petrol, they discharge into some farm. Some farm in Lagos, they discharge into it. Now that Dangote is producing this petrol now, you will see that they will lose business because no need of storage. Dangote have its own storage.
Right.
Unless you want to be importing yourself, which is not likely because then Dangote will produce more than will in this country, even export. So you will see that those people they will fight back, because look as if the next 5 or 6 months without to produce petrol, their tank will not be useful again.
Right.
Maybe they will use their reserve or the storage for another thing. So those people will resist because they will lose business. So something. So that the challenges we are facing in any business, people will not want to lose their total livelihood, they want to resist it. But then they have been able to overcome it, and I feel other producer refinery also who are doing the same challenge, they want to overcome it. So the major issue that they is facing now, which is that our crude oil production cannot meet up with demand of Dangote. I don't know you are aware of that.
Right. Yeah.
Dangote requires like a million liter and a million barrel to be able to feed that 650 liter per day. So for him to get to that, he needs a reserve up to 30 million liter and a billion barrel ahead. Because you can't be taking and be producing. You have to have some storage. So that's where the country, the challenge we are having now. How to meet up with our own local production for NNPC, local production of Dangote. That's where the challenge is now. And NNPC already committed himself to some foreign customer,
Right.
who they even collect money ahead of. That's the challenge that Dangote is fighting now, and which our other refinery in Nigeria is fighting now. And that's one of the reasons why NNP himself cannot come up production. Because if you deny those foreign customers their due at the right time, you are back, you blacklist you.
Right.
And if the time comes now that we are able to produce more than we need, they will not be there for us again. And that's the challenge NNPC is facing. How to satisfy Dangote and other local producers, and how to meet the other external customers who are already been pay ahead, who have been there for many years taking our food oil. That's the challenge now that the oil industry is facing, that it will face now, is facing now, and will face in the future.
Right.
And the solution is for government to increase productivity. Let them make sure that we bring more investors who can invest in the deep sea shore, where the really oil is. We don't have all our local oil drillers are not in the deep sea. They are in the on land, and we don't have much there. That's why we need people like share. We need share more. A lot of people so that can go to the high sea and take oil and increase our productivity.
Right.
And the only problem that we are facing now, and that thing, if you don't solve it, it will bring crisis in Nigeria.
All right, if
Thank
they
you
don't
very
solve it will might just bring some crisis. The spill sector GB says, yes, it's still conversational, and yes, we're looking at Nigeria's oil crisis sector right there, oil sector crisis, I beg your pardon. And you can join the conversation via the YouTube, via the Facebook page wall, as well as the Twitter handle, as you would get an audio-visual radio experience that you can count on anytime, any day. It's quite colorful, though, I might add. Let's go on to this one. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, I'm calling not in a port today.
Okay.
It's
So where are you calling from? Where are you calling from?
I am on transit.
Okay, transit. Okay, good. Go ahead.
If you look at what is happening about, the refineries issue in Nigeria, honestly, we have been saying this year. Billy Blessing, I commend her for that. I also have been saying this even today. I said it. Even I complain about Atiku that is like opposing everything. Why is he not talking about refineries? We have to be honest. Let's be honest to ourselves. It's a result of fuel subsidy that is making everything in Nigeria to cause. Before this, everything was honestly it was manageable. But after this fuel subsidy, everything rise up. What is the cause? The cause is that we are not refining fuel in Nigeria, and it's caused by the cabal. That cabal has to do with everybody who has been in government before. I don't want to talk about those in government now, but before, because they failed to do it, so they knew it. Who is more than federal government in Nigeria? Who is that? It's just that I'm afraid of the casualties,
right?
Because they are refining locally. But to be honest, everybody who has in this government is part of the cabal. That cabal that is stopping us, to refine oil. Thank you and God bless.
All right, thank you, Honorable Edwards, for that one. You are in transit. I wish you a safe journey. But let's look at, some of these, issues that we brought up about. Well, there's been the question of what is the role of the Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission? Have you ever thought about that? I mean, one of such would be to regulate the sector and ensure transparency. And if you're asking the questions of whether they're adequately equipped, then you might also want to say no, because they need more resources and support, actually. And then it seems as though we are prioritizing OPEC's statement over our own local refinement of fuel, and that is a serious issue. So how can Nigeria balance its OPEC commitment with its domestic refining needs? It's a simple thing to do. Now, it may not be really simple, but one would want to think that it might just be by negotiating special arrangements and looking towards prioritizing domestic refining. I mean, it's just, look, if this charity does not begin at home, where else is this charity going to be? But in the words of Governor Godwin Obaseki, he had said, we need to reform our regulatory agencies to ensure they serve the people, not just the interest of a few. There you got it, a few. And that's where Governor Godwin Obaseki had made it clear again that, look, there are some cabals. So what can we do? We should prioritize domestic refining, right? And address the mafia issue and reconsider OPEC compliance. I mean, it's like a puzzle. We need to find the right pieces to fix the oil sector, and we need to prioritize domestic refining. We can't say that enough. Increase transparency, because when you prioritize, domestic refining, you can now push for transparency. You can attract foreign investment. You can diversify the economy, as well as strengthen regulations. It's just what it is. And the former president has said we must work together to build a Nigeria that works for us all, and not just the privileged few. I mean, they just go on and on and on to pointing out the fact that, look, there are a few persons sabotaging the process, but we must not allow these few persons to have their way, because, look, these is our resources. It's our resources, and it's not just oil. I mean, we have the tin ore, we have the gold, we have the textile, we have quite a number of things. The rubber, We're not even talking palm oil here. I mean, we have quite a lot, and it's quite disheartening to think that we can have all of this and yet not be able to achieve anything. Well, apologies that my guest was not able to come, but I'm glad that we had this conversation because it has been an opener to GB and of course to every other person. Memory may not allow for me, to put your names out. Moses, I remember, and yes, to every other person, UD as well. Thank you, Honorable Edwards, too. Thank you for adding your voice in this discourse. Look, we will not stop talking. We will keep talking until this change and of course a new trajectory is found, a new dimension to issues is reached, and of course a plausible and feasible conclusion that would indeed encompass all of us, be encapsulating where everybody is indeed a shareholder, a stakeholder would be formed. Well, thank you once again. Tomorrow is yet another day, top of the hour 10. Master will be here with the Midday Extra Show. Do stay blessed and have a great day. Udrak Daniel is my name. Don't go away.